To them, you're an infidel, Bill. Did you know that?
Well, we lived among the Arabs, we Jews, for thousands of years, and they didn't bother us, okay?
What do you mean? Bill, are you ignorant? Are you that stupid? Is that what they teach you in the temple? They didn't bother you? You're a second-class citizen who had to pay a tithing to the Arabs.
So what? We pay taxes wherever we go.
All right, now you're just pulling my leg. Now you just want to provoke me. Now I could see you're not real. I could see you just doing this to provoke me. All right, Abraham, say hello to Isaac. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Your Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust for tangible assets, gold and silver. Call 800-BUI-COIN. I was on the Alex Jones show earlier today for my new novel, Countdown to Mecca, which will be out next week. I fictionalized what's going on in this world because there's only so far I can go on this radio show. So in it, a group of generals plot to blow up Mecca, and my hero tries to stop them. Of course, I will be misquoted, and the opposite will be said about the book. But when the generals meet, they're talking about what the Quran actually says. So one general says to the other, the Quran, sir, verse 812, just one of the more than 100 verses that call Muslims to war with what they call non-believers. General Brooks asked him, and who do they call non-believers? General Reynolds interrupted, anyone who isn't Muslim. Quran 551 states that Muslims are not to take Jews and the Christians for friends. Allah describes them as unjust people, close quote. General Brooks said, the Quran invokes kill the infidel 120 times. Brooks said quietly, almost to himself, as he gazed at the empty sky, what kind of sane nation permits these people to practice such open hatred? It's in Countdown to Mecca. The civil war I told you that Obama was planning is on. He triggered this. He planned it. He plotted it. He steamed up the mobs in the streets. And you have not seen anything yet. The beast is unleashed. Your president did this to this country. And the best is yet to come.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Two more Muslims attack a free speech event. No matter how provocative, that's what it was. It was to paint pictures of Muhammad. They may not like it, but we live in America. We don't happen to live in Yemen. That's all. It's a little contest. Do a cartoon, reward the artist with a $10,000 who creates the best cartoon image of Muhammad, whose depiction is considered a sacrilege in Islam. See, you're not even allowed to draw in Islam. It's called a graven image. They're living in the 9th century. Oh, you can put a statue of Jesus in a jar of urine at the Brooklyn Museum. That's freedom of speech. You can spit on Christianity all you want, according to the left, but this is something different. This is sacred. This is sacred, says Woody Allen and their ilk. So they show up at the end of the event, the two Muslim converts, Nafir Sufi and Elton Simpson, converted in prison. 7 o'clock, they pull up into the parking lot entrance blocked by a patrol car, right? So the unnamed officer and Bruce Joyner, an unarmed security officer, works for the local district. They leave their cruiser to speak to the sedan's occupants. The Muslims exit their car and immediately open fire with assault rifles. They shoot Joyner in the ankle, while the other officer, unnamed, the traffic cop, kills them instantly with his handgun. 6-gun. Killed the two Muslims with their automatic weapons and body armor. Must have done 2 headshots. Good for him. Glad he had all that practice. Both men died there on the street next to their car. Now, we don't know whether the FBI is going to investigate the officer who actually saved everyone. This would probably be the job of the federal government, to make sure that the officer who saved everyone is persecuted for doing his job. Both gunmen were wearing body armor on top of it all. You hear this? And he killed them. Isn't that amazing? When he was faced with automatic weapons, he pulls out a pistol and shoots them both in the head. And he stopped them before they were able to penetrate the event and kill people. An Islamic State fighter claimed the attack was carried out by 2 supporters of the militant group, according to the site, which tracks jihadist groups online. So that's the story. That's the story. That's America today. They're here. They're near. They're everywhere. They were in 50 states. They're in 50 states. So what would you like to do? Give up our free speech to placate them? What's next? How about breaking the crosses off churches? You know, that's offensive to Muslims. You know that in an area of Michigan a number of years ago, they had to stop church bells because it offended Muslims who invaded the community. Were moved into the community by the federal government under previous administrations. They flooded them into an area that had been Catholic in all its existence. And the minute the Muslims achieved a population majority, they told the church to shut off the church bells. Because they're a religion of tolerance, you understand. And the church had to comply. They shut off the church bells. In the Middle East, they're burning churches. They're taking the crosses off churches. They're knocking over headstones. They're destroying Christian art going back thousands of years. And then you have appeasers in America who say, shush, be a good boy. Be like the Jews in Germany. Shush, shush, still gehet. Keep walking. Don't say anything. Don't stir up the Nazis. Don't get those Nazis mad. They'll leave us alone. You know, if we don't say anything, I'm sure they'll leave us alone. They may be crazy, but they're not that crazy. They're not going to hurt us. We're one of the good ones. We're not going to say anything because they're good. They're good. They're good. They're very good. They'll be good to us anyway. Screw the Goyim. I don't care what they do to them. As long as they're good to us, you know? Keep your head down and don't say anything. Shush, still in Gehet. 855-407-282. Steve on WFTL in Fort Lauderdale. Fire away. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me how little understanding the American public still has for this enemy. One thing would be, well, in regards to the Christians in the Middle East, yeah, they're going to bear the brunt of this because all our actions in that region of the world are basically done with the Christian and Israeli stamp on it. That's just the fact of the matter. Now,
so wait. So the answer is for Christians and Jews to leave?
No, they are going to be pillaged because...
No, you're saying two things at once. You're saying the Muslims are being provoked by the presence of Christians in a land in which they've been for thousands of years? Is that what you're actually saying? The Christians have no right to be there?
Okay. I'm talking about the Christians have lived very peacefully with the Jews in Syria for many years, but we supported that takedown of Assad. So this is all part of the establishment's agenda to basically stir the pot, like your last caller put it. And
you got the cart before the horse. You're saying that Muslims would be peaceful if there were no Christians and Jews provoking them. Isn't that what you're saying?
No, they would not be at war with us. They would be at...
Really? Who would they be at war with?
Themselves. They would be at war with the...
Really? Now tell me about their war against Hindus in the disputed area called Kashmir. No Christians involved, no Jews involved. Israel's not involved. Why are the Muslims at war with the Hindus over Kashmir? Is it the Hindus' fault as well?
That's a great point you're bringing up, Mike.
Of course it's a great point because you're an ignoramus and you don't understand the bigger picture. Now I'll ask you another question, genius. Why are the Muslims in the Philippines at war with the Catholics in the Philippines? Nothing to do with Israel. Nothing to do with the Middle East. Nothing to do with anything other than they want to take over the Philippines. They're called the Moros. In fact, in the Spanish-American War, the American troops who were sent there, the U.S. Army, went over there. They couldn't even kill the Moros with a .38 caliber handgun because they were stoned out of their gourds on some jungle weed. And that's when the .45 caliber round was developed because that would stop anyone no matter what they're on. But nevertheless, that's a side story. This war has been going on 1,000 years. Do you know that or don't you?
Tangent. Let's talk about the freedom.
I said, do you know that their war against everyone else has been going on for 1,000 years, Steve? Are you aware of that or not?
Yes, I'm aware of the wars that are going on in the Middle East. But
No, you're changing the subject to make your point, but you're not making your point. You're losing your point. Islam has been at war with the world for over 1,000 years. You know that, don't you?
World? Last time I checked, they wouldn't even be at war with us if it wasn't for us building military bases on the Arabian Peninsula. So,
oh, Steve, you have it all backwards. You're another appeaser. You're another appeaser who says that if only we disappeared, they would live in peace. Then why don't they live in peace with their Hindu neighbors?
Why do you need to provoke the crazy.
Why? No, don't change the subject because you just lost. Let's take us out of the quotient. They're at war with the Hindus over Kashmir. What does that have to do with us? Nothing. They're at war with the Catholics of the Philippines. Why? Why do they want to take over the Philippines and convert everyone to Islam? Do you know the answer to that?
Why do I care about who's dying on the other side of the planet? Why do I care about that?
Okay, so now it's not your problem that they're killing people all over the world. So you're the type of American who would have said, who cares if the Nazis are killing Jews in the concentration camp? It's not my problem. Is that what you believe?
I'm not going to send my cat.
No, I'm asking you. No. I asked you a question. Let's say Steve was alive in the 1930s and he had reports that the Nazis were killing Jews and others in concentration camps. What would you have said to Roosevelt? Don't get involved. It's not our problem?
No.
What do you mean, ha, ha, ha? What would you have said?
I'm telling you, I would have definitely.
Look, would you have gone to war with the Nazis to stop them from killing innocent Jews and others? Of course, you said you just said you would, right?
Russia, we had alliance with Great Britain. Of course, we backed up our allies.
No, don't bring in Great Britain. I asked you, Steve, a question. You're alive in 1935, 6, 7, and you see the Nazis are killing minorities, Jews and others. What would you advise FDR? Don't get involved? It's not our business?
Churchill came to us. What are you talking about? We would be...
No, don't change the subject. I asked you, Steve, what you would advise.
What do you mean, what would I advise?
Look, are you dumb or you're just playing dumb?
Listen to me. I'm not...
No, you listen to me. You're a nobody in the gutter with a radio in your hand. You're saying we have no right to defend innocent people around the world while they're slaughtering Christians, Yazidis. They're killing people, blowing people up, setting them alive on fire. What should we do? Nothing?
We're paving the way for that to happen even worse beyond your wildest dreams with our foreign policy.
So in other words, you're telling me that we're the reason they're setting people on fire in the Middle East.
You are the reason why ISIS is what it is today. Yeah, I believe we emboldened the enemy. I think the takedown in Libya and encouraging it in Syria. Oh, yeah. Oh, 1,000%.
You're very confused, man. I don't really know who's titrating your medication, but he should do a better job. I mean, it's the beginning of the month, for God's sakes. Steve, it's early in the month. It's May 4th. Surely your doctor can titrate you up a little bit. I mean, are you off your meds or are you on a low dose?
I'm on with you.
No, you must be on a low dose. I mean, it's early in the month. You better titrate it up because you can't follow a thought.
Hey.
I mean, you think you're an intelligent man, but you don't know what you just said.
Well, I know what I just said.
All right, take a walk. You're wasting my airtime and wasting people's minds. You made no sense whatsoever. They're setting people on fire over there. They penetrated 49 or 50 of the states, according to the FBI. They're sitting here with loaded weapons, as we just saw in Texas, ready to strike, waiting for Central Command to tell them the Nazis are here. The Islamo-fascists are in this country. They're armed to the teeth. Period. End of story. You want to blame yourself? You can do it all you want. Go blame yourself all you want. Blame America's foreign policy. Go ahead. That means you don't know anything about history. 1,000 years, Muslims have been at war with the world around them. Virtually everywhere on the globe where there is a war, and I don't know of any area where it's not true, almost every event on this planet where there's a war, a small war or a big war, it's Muslims who cannot get along with their neighbor. Do you know that? Just look around the world. Show me a war that's not about Muslims not getting along with their neighbor. And ask yourself why. WBAP in Dallas, Joshua, go ahead. You're on the Savage Nation. What's on your mind?
Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me on. I was actually at the event, and just a couple of comments. You had some color commentary about the FBI dropping their guns. I like that. They weren't actually there, though, when the shooting took place.
Where were they? Studying their manual on what they could do and not do?
Oh, probably. I don't know. But
you mean there was FBI there, but they weren't there? Where were they? In a hotel room? Studying a manual on rules of engagement with radical Muslims?
Going up until after the shooting.
Ah, they came there with the body bags and the chalk.
Yeah, there was the Joint Task Force on Terrorism, and...
That's a joke. Were they there with guns drawn? Did they do anything, or they also dropped the guns out of their girly holsters?
Showed up later. The forces that were there was some private security, which those guys were actually pretty nice.
Yeah, right. Big, beefy Texans who aren't afraid of them.
Yeah,